Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this week I wanted to talk about something that recently happened to me, and it's going to be something that's going to occur for a lot of patients who are treated with drugs such as Humira. So this year in 2023, there are about 8 or 9 what they call biosimilars that are coming out for Humira specifically. So I've been on Humira since 2015 to treat Crohn's disease. It's been a really good drug for me. It's got me in remission. I've stayed in remission, and I've had no issues with the drug over the last 8 9 years that I've been on it. But recently, as of about a week and a half ago, I was switched to a biosimilar. So if you don't know what a biosimilar is, it is a drug that you will hear is like a generic to like Humira. So it's not truly a generic. The reason for that is because biosimilars, biologics, these are made within living cell cultures, living cells, living organisms. So because of that, you cannot create a true generic to it because of how it's created. It's not like a chemically compounded medication, such as, let's say, like an antibiotic, or maybe even the nausea medicine like that we take. So it is made in a living organism. That's why it's called biologic. And they come out with these biosimilars because they're very similar to what they call the reference product. So the reference product in this case is going to be Humira, and the biosimilar to Humira I am on now called Hadlima. Again, there are like 8 or 9 that are out now or continue to come out the rest of this year. So one of the things about biosimilars is that they're way cheaper than the reference product. So, for instance, Humira typically costs anywhere from $65,000 to $70,000 a year, give or take a few thousand. This new biosimilar that I'm on is going to cost about $13,000 per year. So there's a pretty staggering difference, and because of that, there's going to be this push to put patients on the biosimilar rather than what's called the reference product. So when that happens, you will get potentially switched. There are what they call non-medical switching, meaning that you're just switching because the doctor or insurance or whoever has wants you to switch. So that's part of it. That's what happened to me. Because they're cheaper, again, there's going to be a push to put patients on these. So there's can be a lot of hesitancy to switch from, say, for me, for instance, I've been on Humira since 2015. It's 2023, and I've done really well. I am in deep remission, and that is where I have no signs of active disease. My scopes are clean, lab work is good, all of that is normal. So I'm in what's called deep remission. Just as a side note to that, that doesn't mean I still don't have some kind of symptoms related to old damaged intestine. I still deal with some of that stuff, but in terms of active disease, my disease is inactive because of Humira. So after being on it for so long and then being switched to what they want to treat or tell you as a generic can cause some hesitancy. I will say that, just because something you've been on something for so long, it's worked so well, but now they want you to switch to this generic version of the drug that's worked so well for you. So there's these things kind of back in my mind, like, what if the difference is, what if it doesn't work? What if it stops working and then I try to get back on Humira and maybe that doesn't work at this point and then I have to get on a completely different drug? I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to physicians, talked to people, and that have dealt with this in clinic, and I know the data, and they don't see where there's going to be any kind of issue. They haven't seen it. They're not saying that it's not possible, but there is, the data is out there. The data is good. So I'm not overly worried. There are things in the back of my mind, again, like, what if something changes? What if I start having symptoms again? What if I lose remission and all of that? And that's just normal part of it. But as we move throughout the year and even into 2024, there's going to be this huge push to put patients on biosimilars. And that's going to, again, bring up a lot of questions, concerns. Patients are going to be kind of scared. And that's part of it. And I hope that there's an easy, shift rather than an abrupt pull patients off their reference biologic and put them on the biosimilar. There are a lot of laws around that as well. So depending on where you live, and then also whether or not the drug is considered interchangeable. currently, I don't think any of the Humira biosimilars that are out are considered truly interchangeable. What that means is that if, say, for instance, in the US, if the FDA approves the drug and says that, yes, this is an interchangeable biosimilar to Humira, meaning that if you were to get it filled, if you were to go to get Humira filled, because it's interchangeable, the pharmacy can automatically put you on that biosimilar that's considered interchangeable. So there's one I think that's coming out at the end of the year that is interchangeable, and again, it's not out yet. So there are some regulations around whether or not you can be forced to switch, how that switch occurs, and all of that. But the ones that come out again that are going to be interchangeable is not going to really be able to have a say in it. It can just happen. But I want to share my experience so far with biosimilar and to hopefully help others who are kind of have some fear or worry about the landscape that is changing right now. So for me, I started Hadlima about a week ago. The self-inject pen is very easy to use, similar to Humira, but a little different, but still very easy. Didn't hurt. The injection was fine. I felt a little bit of pain, but not really a lot, which is very similar to Humira. It's the same schedule. It's 2 injections a month, and it was a lot cheaper. I mean, I don't with Humira I paid $5 copay. With this one I paid zero, but I'm talking about cost in terms of what kind of the insurance is paid. It was about $5,000 cheaper. So far it's been fine. I've only had one injection, so not really going to know much yet whether or not there's an issue. I think as I get a couple more injections in, I really will kind of be able to tell if anything has changed. I'm hopeful that nothing has changed, and I'm trying to lean again into the data and what we know about biosimilars, um, and just to kind of keep going with it, and hopefully nothing changes. But if it does, I will obviously let everybody know. And then again, super easy. But I think that this is a good thing. I think that biosimilars are a good thing. It creates what they call competition in the market, can drive costs down, but also biologic medications. These drugs are expensive, and that also can create access issues for patients who need a biologic. So I think that it's going to open up biologics to more patients who need them because it's going to be a lot cheaper. And I think it's going to obviously give us a lot of options out there for new drugs, and especially if there's a patient who's never been on a biologic, or say they've never been on Humira at all. They may have been on a biologic but not Humira. There's going to be like no issue in just going straight to the biosimilar, from what we know. So it really is a good thing. I was talking to a physician who works in the IBD space. He said it's a good thing because of cost, because of access, which I just talked about. But he said it's also will allow for more innovation in terms of how these medications are giving and injected. There's some studies going on about how they can make the injection process easier and different, and so it's going to provide a lot of innovation, truly, because there's going to be a lot of options out there to work with and to be able to manipulate things. So as a whole, it is going to be good. I think there's just going to be a lot of worry in the community, not just the inflammatory bowel disease community, but any of these communities that take these biologic medications. You get rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and a few others that are on these medications, and patients have been, Humira is one of the most popular biologics out there. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of people that have taken it because it's been out for a very long time. So there's going to be a lot of people that do end up getting switched, and it's going to cause a lot of fear, I think, and worry. And I get it because I'm a patient and I'm going through the switch right now. As I said, I just had my first injection of the biosimilar. Again, it was fine, but time will tell if anything changes. So I will keep you all updated on that. But hopefully, by sharing my experience with the switch to the biosimilar, it will help ease people's fears. And as we move into, again, this new age of having biosimilars and switching and all of those things that are going to occur over the next few months and into the next year, I hope that I can shed a little light on that. And as more people do switch, that they find it easier to make that switch and feel more confident in it. And so I will continue talking about it, sharing my experience, and hopefully have some more content around biosimilars and what they are. But thank you for joining, and I hope that this helps you if you are switching or potentially having to switch. I hope that this helps ease a little bit of fears. And if you have any questions, absolutely reach out to me.